Hello and welcome to SaltWire today for Monday, May 8th. I'm your host, Kate Walker. The federal government is putting more money into its plan to try and decrease gun violence in Canada, with nearly $9 million allocated for Nova Scotia. The public safety minister announced today that the government is spending $390 million in programs to stop gun crime and gang violence before it starts.
And the federal government is tackling this challenge head on. We've got a plan and we're taking action. I firmly believe that the only way we are going to reduce gun violence and to stop crime is if we move forward with three things: strong borders, strong laws and enforcement, and strong prevention.
The funding is spread over the next 5 years to provinces and territories to support a variety of initiatives, including support for law enforcement and prevention programs. Nova Scotia's allocation of $8.7 million, almost double that of the previous program's allocation of $4.7 million. This funding is in addition to the initiative to Take Action Against Gun and Gang Violence program announced in 2017. Nova Scotians now have a new way of accessing workplace safety online and through an app. It's called Nova Safe, and it's a mobile-friendly site that provides employers, supervisors, and workers access to safety information and regulatory requirements. It also has info on fall protection, personal protective equipment, and fire extinguishers. You can download the app on any Apple or Android device by visiting novasafe.ca. The province says the site was created to help workers and employers comply with occupational and technical safety regulations. Nova Safe is modeled after safety sites created in other jurisdictions and developed by the Canadian Centre for Occupational Health and Safety. Well, now that the weather is warming up, there's even more incentive for cyclists to want to get out on their bike, some with their children. But there's concern from some parents about the number of cars on the roads and the bicycle safety for kids. It's a big reason behind why Jen Parker and others organized Kidical Mass Rides in HRM. It's an international movement that started in 2008 in Eugene, Oregon, and has since spread across North America and Europe. A spin-off of the critical mass cycling movement, Kidical Mass Rides are for families to ride together on the streets, with ride marshals helping them cross intersections and looking out for cars.
It's really important for me as a parent, knowing how much independence I had as a child and how unsafe that feels to allow my son to do the same right now. It's really important because of climate change. I think that, active transport is our future, and we need to be raising our generation with the next generation with models for that.
Instead of having to ride single file down a sidewalk, these cycling events, families can ride together and chat along the route, as well as teach their kids the rules of the road in a safe environment. Kidical Mass Rides returned with their second season in HRM yesterday and have more rides coming up. The next one on June 4th in central South End Halifax and June 16th in downtown Dartmouth. There are also rides scheduled for August, September, and October. You can visit their Facebook page for more details if you're interested in taking part. Nova Scotia's Jeopardy whiz Mattea Roach is back at it tonight on the big screen. Roach will be competing on Jeopardy Masters, which is a new spin-off show with 6 super champions facing off. Roach, who's from Halifax but now lives in Toronto, won 23 games in a row on Jeopardy last year, which is the 5th longest streak in the show's history. The show will air tonight at 8 p.m. on ABC. It's time now for a glimpse of today's Thinking Out Loud with Sheldon McLeod. Today, Sheldon is speaking with Lydia Hauk from Students Nova Scotia about the Memorandum of Understanding between the province and its 10 universities.
And what voice do students have at the table in this conversation?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a great question. Students historically haven't been full partners in the MOU process. So whereas government and universities are kind of directly those negotiation or discussion bodies, students' role has been more of a kind of advisory one, perhaps like providing feedback through consultation sessions along the way, but not necessarily directly around that table in the same capacity as the other two parties are. And obviously, we do understand that, but at the same time, students are, when we get down to brass tacks, the primary stakeholders of the post-secondary experience, both in terms of what they're getting from it, but also, as I'm sure we'll talk about, the single biggest funders of the post-secondary system at this point. So from our perspective, not only is it important that folks are looking through the recommendations we have, we would love to see the role of students as this next MOU is developed to be more extensive perhaps than it's been in past iterations.
And for Sheldon's full conversation, head to the opinion section of SaltWire.com. Time now for the Atlantic Sports Wire, presented by Scott Squires.
Thanks, Kate. Here's part 2 of my conversation with Nico Abeda, who plays basketball for the Truro Tide. Nico is originally from Tucson, Arizona, by way of Albuquerque, New Mexico, but he finds similarities between his hometown and his new town. You and I were chatting, full disclosure, prior to us recording this, and you were saying that there's actually some similarities between your hometown in Arizona and in Truro. What are those?
So Truro's a smaller area. You can walk to places and everything's kind of close to by. When I lived in Tucson, I lived in an area very similar to that. I felt comfortable walking places and nothing was really too far. And that I've enjoyed here. My teammates jokingly call me the mayor because I know where to go. Like, we're walking to games and all that, left, right, just like, yeah, bro, we take this street real quick. It's just like, how do you know that?
And I lived in Truro for a long time, and I was constantly having to stop for trains. Train tracks everywhere. Trains are constantly going through the town. It's called the hub town. Once upon a time, it was a mecca, a main stopping point for trains going east, west, north, south, whatever. How do you feel about the train tracks?
So in Tucson, especially in Vail, they called us the town between the tracks because we had train tracks everywhere. You'd know it was around 4 a.m. because you'd hear the rumble and you'd hear the horn go off close to where I lived. And even where I played high school, like when I say across the street, I mean a rock's throw train track used to come. So we kind of use that as a home field advantage now and then because it would just go and this loud, man.
Check out my full conversation with Nico by clicking on the video tab at saltwire.com and by watching us on our SaltWire YouTube channel. And while you're on our YouTube channel, make sure you like the video and subscribe. In Halifax, I'm Scott Squires for the Atlantic Sports Wire.
Thank you, Scott. On to weather now. Our weather specialist, Alistair Alders, is off today. Let's have a look at our 7-day forecast. A mix of sun and clouds this week, 10 degrees tomorrow, then 14 and mostly sunny Wednesday. A high of 18 Thursday and 17 Friday. A rainy weekend on tap, 16 Saturday and 13 Sunday. Then more showers on Monday and 15. That's all for now. For more extended video and full online articles, stay tuned to saltwire.com. And you can find us on social media. I'm your host, Kate Walker. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.